Crafter's Log, stardate 75306.9. With the successful completion of the Great British Ghost Hunt, I'd hoped life could now slowly return to normality. A new crisis has emerged, however, in the form of a growing anxiety over the impending holiday season. Time runs short, and there are many gifting mysteries yet to be solved. You know, in the aftermath of Spooktober, I think it is pretty normal to find ourselves in an introspective sort of way. Much like waking from a drunken stupor, there's a certain clarity of thought that lets us look back at the previous month and realise just how weird it was that orange briefly became everybody's favourite colour. This frame of mind has also handily sparked a eureka moment and solved a long-standing problem of mine. You see, ever since starting this channel, I've felt a little bit weird about calling these videos Flosstubes. Obviously, I do a lot of crafts, and a Flosstube, to me, is somebody sitting there telling you in great detail all about their cross-stitch projects, and then waving a fond farewell until next time. That doesn't really work for me because I find myself wanting to talk about so many other things as well. So while I always start the proceedings in cross-stitch land, I soon veer off into yarn land and fabric land, and sometimes 3D printing workshop out in the garage land. So here's the revelation of a lifetime. Why did I not think to call it Crafter's Log in the first place? I know. While I do lack a Picard costume, for now, I feel like this new title really sums up me as a person. Yep, crafts and Star Trek is basically my personality. So yeah, that's the new plan going forward. Format-wise, we are staying exactly the same, so without any further rambling, I'll just jump in and let's see what I've been up to in October. Cross-stitch. So I do technically have a couple of FFOs this month, however, chances are you've probably already seen them, so I won't bore you too much with the details of these, just a tiny little bit. First up was this spooky Halloween biscornu. If you didn't catch my video on how to make a biscornu, this is a free pattern that I made available through my Ko-fi shop to accompany the tutorial. It is still available for download now, and I will link it in the description if you want it. Here I need to talk some real talk, okay? Just the biggest thank you in the world to the people who decided to donate in return for this pattern. It's not something I asked for, and it's certainly not something I ever expected, but you were just really generous, and I cannot explain how much I appreciate that. It genuinely makes a difference to me, and yeah. Thank you so much. If you did grab the pattern for free, don't worry, there is a reason that I made it free in the first place. I'm really happy that you liked it enough to download. It's been so exciting reading everybody's messages and looking at the pictures of projects that people have already stitched up on Instagram. Absolutely made my month. Thank you so much, everybody. For someone who just made this originally as a random experiment and to see how on earth biscornus work, I've actually used it quite a lot. I often stitch in hand rather than using a frame or anything, and I found it's really handy to have this thing sitting on the couch next to me holding my needle. Also, nobody has outright corrected my pronunciation of biscornu, so I'm just going to assume that's correct, but you should know we have officially decided that the plural shall be biscorni. There you go. Another thing you've seen a lot of in the last month is of course the Great British Ghost Hunt, which took up a lot of both my actual crafting time and just my attention in general in October. Don't get me wrong, it was brilliant fun and I'm really glad that I took part, but I am kind of relieved that it's over and I can chill out a bit, at least until the inevitable Christmas version kicks off. So, among the other ghosts that I made for the hunt were these cross-stitch ghost keyrings. Glow in the dark, naturally. The actual keyrings themselves were a craft kit from Amazon, and I have to say they were extremely disappointing. They came individually bagged in plastic, but they were very scratched regardless, so it was just a total waste. I did have to sort of shave a bit of the plastic off one of them to get it to fit together as well, but in the end they worked out okay, and hopefully they're out there making somebody happy as we speak. Okay. Onto whips. You know how you just randomly wake up one day and the project that you were previously obsessed with is dead to you now and has been replaced in your brain with something completely different? No? Just me? Well, throughout all of September I was obsessed with my Steampunk World Map project, and at one point I actually thought I would get Asia complete by the end of that month. In October, somehow all of that mojo just went. So you can see I have not made a ton of progress on this one, but that's okay, I think. I don't want to start treating cross-stitch like an obligation, and I'm just going to continue to see where the stitchy mojo takes me. It's definitely been trickier than I thought stitching this on even weave, but not because of the extra counting. It's actually all just because of the fabric stiffness or lack thereof. I've said already that I prefer stitching in hand most of the time, and Ada is great for that, but this, not so much. Anyway, I have a Q-snap on my Christmas wish list, so we'll see. It's definitely the time of year now where it gets potentially spicy buying things like that for yourself, just in case you ruin someone else's plans, so yeah. Hint. Okay, so the steampunk mojo went away, but it was well and truly replaced by blocky mountain scene mojo. This is not the most impressive progress ever since last month, but again, the ghost hunt did take up most of my time in October, so progress is progress. I'm very happy to have the blue frame finished, because that was a little bit tedious, I have to be honest, and now I know that all the counting is correct and I can just kind of fill in the rest of the colours. Back in September's Leeds trip, I picked up all of the called for DMC that I didn't own or have a good substitute for, so this project is just all set and all signs point to it being a chill time from here on out. My dilemma with this piece is how to eventually finish it. In the example from Satsuma Street, it's finished as a wall hanging, which works really well with the shape of the frame. However, I'm struggling to think of any other way to do it. If anyone out there has any suggestions, I am all ears. One other thing I'm working on right now is a Christmas pattern freebie that I plan to release alongside a video. Yep, you got me. I am just going with the Halloween Biscone video format again, but make it Christmas. So I obviously can't really show you anything there yet, but I hope you'll enjoy it once it comes out. I know, right? Intriguing stuff. The other big stitching related plan at the moment is to finally handle my floss storage situation, or more accurately, my lack thereof. I've outgrown the neat plastic box full of bobbins that I started off with, and I've just never replaced it with anything else, so I currently have bags and bags of floss all over the house. It's actually really stressing me out. So there are plans afoot to fix this with a DIY system. I'm leaning kind of more towards the floss drops end of things, but I'm not 100% sure, so we'll see how it goes. And of course that will be documented in a video, just on the off chance it helps somebody else prevent embroidery floss from taking over their whole house. Speaking of, if you are interested in DIY floss storage situations, I can recommend Brenda at Obsessive Crafty Dabbler, who just put out a video going over the pros and cons of her own DIY system. Finally, I am planning at least one cross-stitched gift for Christmas, but for obvious reasons, I can't tell you anything about it. You never know who's watching. Not sure why I even felt the need to mention it, really. Alright, that is just about it for cross-stitching content this month. If you're interested in hearing what I've been up to with all of my other crafts, please do hang around. If you're only here for the stitching content, that's totally fine. Thank you very much for watching, and I will put a link over there somewhere to some more content that you might find interesting. Hopefully we'll see you back here next time. Don't forget to like this video if you've enjoyed it so far, and maybe even consider subscribing if you really want to make my day. Okay, enough shilling. Let's move on to knitting and crochet. The headline this month is definitely that I have finally finished these socks. It's been a long time coming. I have been working on these literally since I started making videos, and it's taken me literal months to make the second one. But that's fine, and it's worked out really well because the yak down in this yarn means they are so warm they would be unsuitable as anything other than autumn/winter socks. So, fit. The pattern is Double Eyelet Rib Toe Up Socks by Wendy D Knits on Ravelry. It's a free pattern and it's super easy to knit because the lace section is just a 4-round repeat and only one of those rounds actually has any yarn overs on them. The yarn is Bayul Fingering by Kettle Yarn Co. in the colourway Auburn, and it's not my usual merino and nylon type of sock yarn, but it's just so luxurious and I love it. Very expensive, so I will be taking good care of these socks and probably only wearing them in the house, but Who doesn't want a little bit of luxury sometimes? Other than that, whenever I've had time to make something this month, I have been trying to focus on creating items for the Etsy crochet pile. Cross your fingers, someone somewhere wants some of this stuff, because otherwise it is going to absolutely overrun our house. Basically, it's all cup cozies and cowl and ear warmer sets at the moment. I was going to do some coaster sets as well, but with everything else going on, I have had to prioritise, and I figure housewares are kind of an all year round item, whereas big winter cowls and hot drinks, more of a winter thing. I've also discovered that international shipping post-Brexit is like way harder now. I'm honestly not sure if it's going to be worth opening up international, which is a real shame and it's kind of upsetting. But I am still trying to work it out. I'm going to talk to some people who know a lot more about this than me and just see if I've interpreted all of the new rules correctly. We'll see, it can't be helped, I suppose. Really no idea how this whole Etsy thing is going to go, but you never know until you try, right? Worst case scenario, I have got crochet gifts set for the next 5 years. And speaking of gifts, of course I do also have yarny Christmas gift plans, but again, can't really give you any details. This is so frustrating. I wish I'd never told anybody I know in real life about my YouTube channel. Maybe I'll figure out how to work them into videos between now and then, and I'll just put a disclaimer on the front about not watching if you know me in real life. Then it's their own fault, right? Not convinced that would hold up in court, but it sounds good to me. Other crafts. Alright, so the ghost hunt gave me a chance to dive into a few different crafts at once, and one of those projects was making these cute little resin fellas. I bought a silicone mould that made a few of them at a time, and also used the chance to experiment with glow-in-the-dark pigment for the first time. The first batch just had a little bit of glow added, while the second lot were more experimental with more glow pigment as well as various micas and inks added to see what would happen. Basically they all just turned out different shades of green, but at least now we know. We, and by we I do mean Dev, drilled tiny little holes in them and I turned them into hanging ornaments. I know a few of them were found, so I hope that the new owners treat them well. Since I'd already bought the glow-in-the-dark pigment anyway, he hatched a genius plan to try our hand at making chunky ghost dice. Suffice to say, they have been quite the hit. We're not really planning to sell dice yet as an actual business because there's just so much to learn about quality control, but it is good to know that people are enthusiastic about it if we do decide to take the plunge, so thank you to everybody who asked. Lastly, I also made quite a few of the little needle felted ghosts that you've seen all over my Instagram and the previous few videos. Sebastian is staying with me forever, of course, but the others all went out to haunt some local landmarks, and honestly I'm just really proud of these. I'd never felted anything until trying it in October, and I've just really taken to it. You know when you pick up a new craft and it just feels right? I love all of my crafts, but it's been a long time since one felt that way, and I'm just so excited to get stuck in with it more. It's a great craft, it's cheap to start, big recommend. Was it last month that I showed you the amazing fabric for my patty pocket skirt? I can't remember. Time has lost all meaning. You might know that sewing is the one craft that really stresses me out, basically because I convince myself that I'm going to ruin the expensive fabric and not be able to recover from it, so I wanted to leave this project until everything else was out the way and I could really focus on it. Which, the run up to Christmas doesn't seem like that time, but I'm going to try it anyway. I just want to wear this skirt so bad, so I need to just have a word with myself and get on with it. The pattern was already printed and assembled back in September, and I've now pre-washed and prepared the fabric, so really everything is ready to go and I just have to, make it. Wish me luck! I think the last big thing I want to mention is a Christmas crafting challenge, which, once again, I can't really tell you much about. Bit of a theme developing in this video, hey? What I can tell you is it's a collaboration with another multi-craftual YouTuber. I am really looking forward to it, and if all goes to plan, we should get that out in 3 to 4 weeks, I think. Woohoo! So, Okay, I've been really vague on Christmas plans throughout this whole video, which I do apologise for, but you know how it is. One last thing that I've had in mind is the idea of making gift boxes for a couple of people, but where every single item inside the gift box is handmade. Could be crochet items, resin jewellery, handmade soap. If I'm feeling fancy, maybe I'll even origami the box itself. Just small things, it is already November, I'm not completely crazy. So right now I have a long list of small projects that I could reasonably complete, and I'm just kind of grouping them together like with like and seeing if any of those buckets match any of the people I need a gift for. It's a very scientific process. On top of that, there's also a secret Santa going in our little core friend group. I really need to start thinking about that. I don't know if it's going to be better to buy something or make something. Maybe by the time this video goes out I will have a clue, but right now, no. Now, usually I would include a real life section here with a brief montage of all the fun stuff we've been up to in the last month, but honestly, we've been nowhere and done nothing. This was really shocking to me when I look back at my photos and videos from the last month. Dave did manage to get out for a classy night out with the boys at a local Thai restaurant, which left me unsupervised in the house for a whole night. Obviously, I went full craft goblin, made a mess everywhere. Oh, it was brilliant. But yeah, that's about the extent of it this month. Oh my god. Petal, we've got to start going outside more. It has been a truly crazy month, and I expect November and December are going to be right up there with it. Exhausting, but the fun kind of exhausting, am I right? I've not even mentioned the Whips Be Gone challenge in this video so far because there's just been so much else going on, but I am happy to report that I smashed my Q1 goal by finishing those socks and the ghost hunt ghost, and here's a look at my goals for the second quarter. We're actually most of the way through the second quarter already. They do not match up in any way with these monthly videos, but I'll keep you updated on how that's going, and we'll maybe see about getting back to the normal monthly goal setting in the new year. Maybe. So these are my focus projects for the second quarter. That's on top of the Christmas crafting and the YouTubing and the trying to go out more. And I need new glasses as well. What could go wrong? So that was my October and my plans for November. What did you get up to? Did you take part in any spooky crafty hijinks of your own? Are your Christmas crafting plans well on track, or are you a total shambles like me? Either way, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. You know by now that it really helps with my fear of rejection. Thank you for watching, have a brilliant rest of your day. I'll see you next week with a video about something or other depending which supplies turn up in time. And in the meantime, keep making cool stuff. Bye!